Hi guys! So I am almost 2 weeks postpartum with baby number 3, and in this video I will be sharing the things that I have found either absolutely necessary or very helpful in both dealing with a newborn and in your postpartum recovery. Keep in mind that these are the things that I find useful to me, and I think that this list will probably differ from mom to mom depending on how many kids you already have, if you're breastfeeding, stuff like that. But that being said, let's just jump right into it. So the way that this is going to work is I'm going to start off by listing all of the things that I have found helpful for dealing with my newborn, and then when I am done with that, I will start my list of postpartum essentials. The first thing on my newborn list is my diaper caddy. And this one was ordered off of Target.com. I think it's the brand Trend Lab. I really like it so far. It's really lightweight. It has 3 sections and I haven't had any issues with it at all. Everything that I keep in here are just the things that I am going to need throughout the day dealing with Henley. I have diapers in here. I have a pack of wipes. I have a spare sleeper, and if she needs more clothes during the day, I just find something for her to wear, but at night I always have a sleeper handy just in case she has a blowout or something in the middle of the night. I carry around her pacifier even though she absolutely hates this thing and she never uses it. I just have it just in case one day she changes her mind. I also have a burp cloth in here. I have this little bulb syringe thing that we got from the hospital. I've only had to use this a couple times, but there was one instance where I needed it and I didn't have it handy, so now I always keep it handy. And the last thing I have in here is a pair of mittens, which haven't served much use because she pulls them right off anyway. I don't know why I keep carrying them around with me, but whatever. The next thing on my list are my boppy pillows. So I have 2 boppy pillows. I have this one here, which is used for breastfeeding, obviously, and I have used this with all 3 of my kids while they were breastfed, and even my firstborn whenever I started bottle feeding her. I use this, I guess because I'm lazy, I don't know. It makes things a lot easier than just having to balance your newborn or even your older baby, because I use it for a while, and anything else that you might be doing. And it's also helpful in the middle of the night whenever I don't want to like hold her. I just want to lay her on the pillow and she can nurse really easily. The other one I have is the Boppy Lounge Chair. I use that thing all the time. She sits in it all the time. She loves it. I used it with my secondborn. I didn't actually have one with Lilia. I don't know if they even made those back then, but I love that pillow. The third thing on my list is the Fisher-Price Rock and Play. I don't actually have it here with me because it is in use as we speak and Henley is sleeping in it. I absolutely love that thing. I didn't have one with Lily, I didn't have one with Zoe, and I don't know how I survived without it because I use that thing constantly. It's a foolproof way to get her to sleep. She'll soothe herself to sleep in it even. I don't have to rock her to sleep or put her in it already asleep. She can put herself to sleep if she's in that thing, and she loves it. The next thing on my list is my Solly baby wrap. So with Zoe, I used a boba wrap and I loved it. I didn't have any issues with it. I think the only issue that I would say that I had is that the material is very, very thick and it gets very hot. So I spent a little bit more money and I got this Solly wrap this time around, and this thing is way more breathable. It's way more lightweight than the boba wrap, and it's also a lot softer. I also like the patterns a lot more. So yeah, basically if you want to baby wear, especially while baby's really small, I recommend using the wrap. Not everybody likes using the wrap, and a lot of people use other forms of baby carriers. The only other thing that I have used besides a wrap is the Ergo. I like the Ergo, especially when baby gets bigger. I don't really like it for like a newborn size baby, but I have no complaints about the Ergo. But for my newborn, I use this wrap, and it makes it a lot easier, especially having more than one kid whenever you're running errands and you don't want to carry around your newborn car seat, which those things are so heavy, and it's really, really hard to take care of a toddler and carry one of those things around if you don't have like a double stroller or something like that, which we don't have a double stroller. I really like to carry my newborn around in this, and it gives me two hands, and it just makes things so much easier around the house and when I'm out and about. Next thing on my list for newborns is muslin swaddles. I use muslin swaddles all the time for all kinds of stuff, and I've used these with my firstborn, my secondborn, and my thirdborn. These are just really lightweight and breathable, and if you've been following for a long time, you know that we live in South Texas and it gets very hot. So I like to use these as opposed to like a thicker blanket. I also swaddle my newborns in these. I don't like to use the ones that have Velcro snaps. I don't like the ones that are supposedly easier. I prefer to just use a swaddle blanket and swaddle my babies. It works better for me personally. I am breastfeeding, and I don't necessarily cover up every time I breastfeed, but if I feel it necessary to be covered up, I like to use these blankets as opposed to a nursing cover, because these are a lot more lightweight. Like I said, they're just a lot more comfortable, they're soft. Like I said, I don't always cover up, but if I cover up, I'm using one of these. The next thing on my list for newborns, I like totally forgot what it was in the middle of saying that. That was weird. Next thing on my list for newborns are sound machines. So we have the Sleep Sheep, and I also have an app on my phone that I use if I don't have the Sleep Sheep handy and I really need to calm baby down or get baby to sleep or whatever I need. The app that I use is called Sound Sleeper. It looks like, oh my god, the window. It looks like this. There you go. And it has newborn options, and then it has infant options. So as your baby gets older and they prefer different sounds. And then what's this? Oh, toddlers and parents. So you have a lot of options. My baby really likes the womb sound right now. And we've also done the shh sound. And there have been so many times where I am having trouble putting her back down to sleep in the middle of the night for a feeding, and I'm exhausted and I need to go to sleep because I have to wake up really early to get my oldest to school, yada yada yada. And I will just pull out my phone and I'll just push one of these sounds, and 9 times out of 10 it will get her back to sleep pretty quickly. The very last thing that I have on my list for newborns is a baby book. This is another one of those things that some people may argue that this is not a necessity, and no, it's not an absolute necessity, but I have absolutely loved having one of these for all of my kids, and I would never have a baby without having one of these books. So this is the one that Trey's sister got for Henley, and this is my favorite one that I've ever had. I think she got it from a store called Farmhouse Kids or something, and that's probably just a little shop that we have here in South Texas that you might not find anywhere else. So depending on where you live, I don't know if that's helpful to you, but it's baby's first year, and this thing is just like the cutest baby book I've ever seen. Shout out to Tara, because she did a really good job picking this thing out. And yeah, I mean, if you don't know what a baby book is, it's just like baby's firsts, baby's pictures, how much you weigh, where you were born, the world that you grew up in, stuff like that. You just fill it out for baby, and then whenever they get older, they can look back and see the world that they were born into. And it's also a really cute keepsake for moms, especially one like me who really likes to scrapbook and conserve all the memories. Hence, one of the main reasons why I have a YouTube channel in the first place, because I like to document everything. So yeah, that wraps it up for my newborn list. Now onto my postpartum list. So the very first thing on my list, and I don't have an example of this to show you because I don't really think I need an example, but those are Cottonelle wipes. Especially right after you give birth, going to the restroom is not the funnest thing in the world. And using toilet paper is not the funnest thing in the world, and I have been so thankful for Cottonelle wipes. I use those every time I go to the bathroom, even still almost 2 weeks postpartum, just because I feel a lot more comfortable that way, and I feel a lot cleaner afterwards because, let's face it, you don't really feel so clean after you give birth, not for a good while. Yeah, if this video gets a little TMI, I'm sorry about that, but this is just the way it is. Next thing on my postpartum list is placenta pills. I don't remember what video it was, but in one of my pregnancy updates, I had talked about how I was going to eat my placenta, and I just explained how I am just gonna have my placenta basically dehydrated and encapsulated so I can take it for helping with postpartum depression and lactation and whatever else it helps with. So these are the pills that I got, and I got these from one of the midwives that works with the group of midwives that delivered Henley. Just take 4 capsules per day, and I had her add some superfood and some flaxseed in my capsules with my dehydrated placenta. So like I said, it's supposed to help with like postpartum depression and stuff like that. So far, since I've been taking these, I have not experienced any postpartum depression at all whatsoever. That could also partially be attributed to the fact that I have 2 other kids that I'm running around all the time, and I do stay very busy. Maybe I don't have time to be postpartum depressed, but it sure seems that these pills are helping, so they made it to my list. The next thing on my list is disposable breast pads. Especially in the very beginning when your milk comes in, if you're like me and you haven't had any issues whatsoever with supply, like maybe more of an issue would be oversupply, you fill up your breast pads pretty quickly. I prefer the feel of washable breast pads, and I actually use the Bamboobies brand of breast pads, but I'm open to other brands if you have any other suggestions on those. They're just a lot softer, but they also fill up a lot quicker, and it's a lot harder to keep up with, like keeping them washed and clean and ready to go when you need them, unless you just have some huge supply of them. The next things on my list, I once again do not have examples of, but I'm pretty sure you're gonna know what I'm talking about anyway, are overnight pads, the Peri bottle, and the cold pack pads, I guess, if you know what I'm talking about. I know you can get the overnight pads and the cold pack pads at any like pharmacy or maybe even the grocery store, and those are just really, really helpful right after you give birth, not necessarily up to like this point where I'm at, 2 weeks postpartum, but right after you give birth, you do not feel so good down there, and you do bleed quite a bit for a while. So those things are more like obvious essentials that you're going to need. You probably didn't really need me to tell you that, but they're obviously essential, so they're on the list. The next thing on my postpartum list is coconut oil. And if you've been following me for a while, you know I use coconut oil for pretty much everything in my life. But this is what I use for nipple cream, for sore nipples when you're breastfeeding. So if you're breastfeeding, I personally don't like the lanolin nipple cream, and a lot of the other nipple creams are honestly just too thick for me. They're just kind of uncomfortable to put on, and I don't like the way they feel. I just prefer the feel of coconut oil on my nipples whenever they're really sore, and it honestly feels like it helps more than things that are specific to healing your nipples, if that makes sense. So the next thing on my postpartum list is something that I should have had that I didn't have, and those are freezer meals. I never prepared myself freezer meals while I was pregnant, and I absolutely regret not preparing freezer meals. I hear about women doing that all the time. It wasn't an issue for me with my firstborn, and it wasn't really an issue for me with my secondborn either, because I had a lot more people bringing me meals and food constantly, and I didn't even notice that I needed to cook anything because I didn't really. But this time around, I have not had any time to prepare myself anything to eat, it feels like, and so I've been eating basically like crap. So I definitely, if I do this again, which I probably won't, I will be preparing myself plenty of freezer meals for after I give birth. The very last thing on my postpartum list is wine. Do I really need to explain this? Well, I guess I will. So not only does a glass of wine a day help with your milk supply if you're breastfeeding, it is also proven to help with your sanity. At the end of the day, every day, I like to have myself a small glass of red wine. This is the wine that I have been drinking so far. It's the Apothic Dark Red Blend. If you like red wine, I do recommend this wine, but I really like all wine, so I guess I'm not really helpful. But that is it for my newborn and postpartum essentials video. If you did like this video, please give it a big thumbs up for me. Don't forget to subscribe to my channel. And don't forget to follow me on Facebook, Snapchat, and Instagram. I will have those links for you down below in the description. And other than that, I will see you all from my next video. Bye, guys.